this great new location for our annual commemoration of Holocaust Memorial Day in the heart of our city. It's good to see so many of you here. I am Martin Reeves and I'm the Chief Executive of Coventry City Council. Each year, as I host this event, I personally am challenged by the themes chosen by the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. They always aim to focus on the contemporary relevance of the Holocaust and a call to action to ensure that those who died during the Holocaust and subsequent genocides are not forgotten or trivialised. When Elie Wiesel, a Holocaust survivor, accepted the Nobel Peace Prize in 1986, he said, "Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented."
My name is Michael Hammond. I'm born in this city. I've worked here all my life. But of course, at present, I'm Lord Mayor. During my year in office, I've been very privileged to stand side by side with many different groups and communities who live in our city. I'm very proud of our proactive attitude in Coventry. We are not bystanders. We are in the forefront of speaking out about injustice and prejudice. We welcome with open arms refugees from many areas of the world and give them a safe haven. Coventry is a city of peace and reconciliation, and we believe in equality for everyone. It is a city where all our communities play a vital part, and one that is known around the world for its work in bringing people together in friendship. Albert Einstein is credited with this saying, "The world is a dangerous place, not because of those who do evil, but because of those who look on and do nothing." The theme for today's Holocaust Memorial Day is "Don't Stand By." This is a personal mission for all of us in 2016. We need to be sure we're not one of those who looks on but does nothing.
I am often asked, do you hate the Germans? Do you feel angry towards the Germans? Well, if you go to Germany today, the vast majority of Germans whom you will meet had not been born at the time of the Holocaust. And it would be both logically and morally wrong to blame them for the misdeeds of previous generations. Even those who are of my sort of age had been born but were children in those days. Many of them would not have understood what was happening, and even if they did understand it, they would not be in a position to do anything about it. So, in that case, you may say, why do we have a Holocaust Memorial Day? Why don't we just let bygones be bygones? Well, the reason is because before the Holocaust, Germany was regarded as one of the most advanced and civilized nations in the world. And yet, the Holocaust was initiated in Germany. And if things like that can begin in such an advanced nation, then they can begin anywhere unless we are aware of the danger and we take precautions against it. So the purpose of the Holocaust Memorial Day is not to perpetuate hatreds, but to try to prevent recurrences of such events.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Abdullah Radwan from Syria, Homs city. I've been living in this city, the city of love, tolerance, peace, Coventry, and we live along with the very good and very kind people, very generous people. Thankfully, we are safe now. We have been living for 16 months. We've been resettled in this country through via the scheme. And I will tell you something about what's going on in Syria, briefly. It all began in March 2012. People demonstrated peacefully asking for change. And the regime there did not respond and started oppressing or, repressing these demonstrations violently. Some of my relatives and friends were kidnapped and killed. People had no choice in Syria, kill or be killed, that's it. And I had nothing to do, and there was no choice, either kill or be killed. I was personally threatened because I was a lawyer by profession, and because I used to defend the innocent people who been arrested. But after I felt that my life was in danger, I decided to flee and move to another city and spent a few days and then fled and moved to Jordan. We suffered a lot in Jordan because the tough circumstances and economical situation there was very, very hard. And we depended heavily on the humanitarian organizations over there. And after a long wait, we got the great news that we will be settled in the UK through the UN and IOM, International Organization for Migration. It was truly beyond our dream to come here and be given another chance in life.
I will now talk about Rudolf Brasda, who was the last known concentration camp survivor persecuted specifically for being gay. For many decades, Brasda's story remained unheard as discrimination against gay men and lesbians in Europe continued. He began to speak out publicly about his experiences only in the final years of his life, telling the world about the persecution gay men and lesbians faced at the hands of the Nazis, specifically the experiences of gay men in the camps, which was often extremely harsh. The Nazi regime targeted anyone who did not fit their narrow ideals of what was normal. Significant numbers of gay men were arrested, of whom an estimated 50,000 were sentenced to prison terms varying from a few months to several years. Most were not sent to concentration camps, but were instead exposed to inhumane treatment in police prisons. Some were subjected to hard labor and torture. As a young adult, Rudolf Brasda lived in Mosselwitz and Altenburg, Germany, where he found a tolerant atmosphere. Despite the prejudicial legislation in place, there was little discrimination at the time, and Brasda could be open about his sexuality. At the age of 20, he met a man who would soon become his first boyfriend. Brasda's family approved of his relationship, even acting as witnesses to a symbolic marriage ceremony in their home. As early as 1933, the Nazis began raiding gay clubs in larger cities, and a pre-existing thriving gay culture in Germany was destroyed. Brasda was arrested on the charge of debauchery between men. Love letters and poems that he'd written to his partner were used against him. He served a 6-month sentence before being deported to Czechoslovakia, where he had been born. But before long, the Nazis invaded the region, and he was arrested again and forced to serve another 6 more months prison term. In August 1942, he was deported to Buchenwald concentration camp. There, he was assigned the prison number 7952 and was forced to wear a pink triangle to identify him. He was subjected to forced labor and remained there for 32 months. It is estimated between 5,000 and 10,000 people were sent to camps because of their sexuality. Whilst in camps, gay men were treated particularly badly. Many people died from exhaustion due to heavy labour. Others were castrated, and some subjected to other gruesome medical experiments. After release from camp, Wijgerden moved to France and lived a quiet life as a free man, and there he met his life partner, Edouard Meyer. However, this was not the case for all gay survivors of Nazi persecution. After liberation, neither the Allies nor the German states removed the Nazi amended paragraph 175 and did not recognize homosexual prisoners as victims of the Nazis. Thus, many gay men continued to serve their prison sentences, and many continued to experience discrimination. Wijgerden broke his long silence about his experience of persecution in 2008, after hearing of the unveiling of a memorial to homosexual victims of Nazism at a ceremony in Berlin. He was persuaded by his friends to tell his story. Wijgerden devoted the last few years of his life to telling his story, as a warning to future generations of the persecution that can happen if we don't respect differences. During these final years, he said, "If I finally speak, it's for people to know what we homosexuals had to endure in Hitler's days. It shouldn't happen again."